Howdy, folks. So I'd like to show you how to create a writing organizer for students. This writing organizer is really designed for students who need to learn how to write a structured paragraph or who need a little bit of help with writing each of the pieces of a paragraph that has a specific predefined structure. So First thing we're going to do is change the margins. We're wasting space if we don't change the margins from the Google Docs default of 1 inch. So we're going to go to page setup and then change all of these. I did file, page setup. We're going to change all of these boxes to 0.5. So 0.5, tab 0.5, tab 0.5, tab 0.5. Done. Now we have so much more space. All right, so we're going to start with 3 rows. I'm going to go insert, table, 3 rows, just 1 column. 1, 2, 3. Take the first 2 and center them. Again, all I did there was select them and click this center button here, center align button. The top one is going to be our title. Let's just say Little Fires Everywhere. Paragraph organizer. And then the second row here is going to be my class information and that. So English 9A. I like to keep this really consistent for kids. English 9A. Mr. Reardon. And spring 2023. Then this last row here is going to be for the student information. So where I'm going to take this and split cells. I like to have 4 pieces of information in this row. So we still want 1 row, but we want 4 columns. So I'm going to change that to 4 columns and then click split. The information I want is name, period, roster number. That just corresponds to the student's alphabetical position on the class roster. They're all assigned a number. It makes alphabetizing papers really quick. And then a seat code. The seat code it's like a systemic way I have all my desks labeled, and that makes returning papers really easy. So I'll take these and then scoot them over, right? So students have enough room to actually write their name. I'm going to make a couple quick aesthetic changes here. So this is too small. I like the titles to be 18. I'm going to make that 18 and bold. I like my class information to be bold, but size 10, much smaller. And then the actual student responses, like all the questions I give them, I try to keep at 12. So it looks like that. Also, I try to keep my fonts consistent. So, and Garamond is my favorite, so I'm going to change it to Garamond. It seems like students appreciate it when your fonts are not all over the place. And then last thing I'm going to do here is change the outside, change the borders from the default of black to gray. And I'm going to do that by clicking here and then choosing the gray right above the yellow. All right, so we have this piece. Now we're going to leave a little gap of 1 line, and we're going to need to think about here, how many rows and columns do we need? So let's do insert table. I generally recommend that the number of columns is 3, and the number of rows needs to be double the number of pieces you want your student's final written product to have. So if it's a paragraph that has 6 pieces, you want 12, and then add 1 to that. So for me, for a 6-piece paragraph, I'm going to want 13 rows and for 13 rows plus our 3 columns. 13 rows, 3 columns. And so now we have this. I'm going to change the border color real quick to gray so I don't forget. There we go. just to change border color, you just want to use this little button up here. It looks like a little bit of a really pointy pencil. Now we're going to take this. We're just going to drag it over here a little bit. Actually, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to drag it over a little more. I want this to be real skinny, like that. Then this one, I want to move it over. So this is, these are about roughly an inch wide. It doesn't have to be perfect. You can eyeball it. Over here is eventually going to be space where either we or students are doing some writing. So now we want to make every other row, starting with the first one. So every odd row, effectively 1 inch. I'm going to select the row. Actually, you don't even have to select it. I'm just going to do right click, table properties, alignment, and then, excuse me, we want row, not alignment. I'm going to hide that. So click minimum row height. I'm going to do 1 inch. If you want yours to be a little bigger, that is totally fine. So we're going to do that for every other row here. Now, the computer's pretty smart. It can tell that I'm making every other row exactly the same size. So as soon as I check the minimum row height box over there, it just knows like, oh, I probably want it to be 1 inch tall. Okay, so I'm noticing here that these are a little bit too big. Oh, let me see if I can just move this up. Okay, I moved it up, so actually we're good. Oh, no, we're not good, because this is like awkwardly on the next page. So the solution to that is pretty simple. We're going to go through and change these again. I'm going to make them 0.9 instead. 9, oops, not 1.9, 9, 9. This does require some patience. Making this stuff does require sometimes some repetitive tasks. I kind of find it relaxing, satisfying, because it's really different than a lot of the brain intensive tasks that we have to do as teachers. So, right, so now this is all on one page. This second awkward page, we can get rid of it by changing the font size to 1 at the top of that second page. It goes away. Now we have something that looks like this. The top here is going to be where you put the directions for the assignment. So we're actually going to take these cells, highlight them, and then merge them. And we do that by clicking right click, merge cells, and then I would be typing in the directions here. Analyze the motif of tea, serving tea, making tea, drinking tea in a moment of your choice in the novel Little Fires Everywhere. Right, this is just kind of a sample prompt of what I might have students do with a single paragraph like this. And then I would want to bold directions. These directions are small, so I might actually make this smaller here. The font is wrong, so I'm going to fix that. I want it to be consistent. We want it to be 12. There we go. Maybe make this a little bigger now. Oh, wait. So you'll notice here that if I drag this down, this is like not centered properly in the cell. And that looks kind of funny. So here's how to fix that. On the right-hand side, we'll hide the row and we'll choose and column and we'll choose alignment. Again, to get there, you do right click, table properties, and then I'm going to click alignment. Instead of cell vertical alignment being top, we want to make it middle. And now it's in the middle. I'm actually going to make that change for this entire table just to make it simpler. Table properties, alignment, middle. That really will pay off aesthetically later. So the next step here is a little bit complicated. I'm going to zoom in a little bit to make it a little easier to see what I'm doing. I want to take these cells, or take the two skinny ones here and merge them together, and take these two cells here and merge them together. So we're going to end up with, I'm going to highlight these two, right click, merge cells, highlight these two, right click, merge cells. And I'm going to do that again for every row. Merge, 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 merge. Just keep going here. All right, all done. So in this box, this column, I usually recommend writing the pieces of the paragraph. So when I teach writing, the first part is the topic sentence, and then context, quote, word analysis, pulling out like specific language from the quote and saying what it means in the context or what it suggests or evokes. Character analysis, tying back to the claim about the character. In this case, the word analysis would actually also be the motif analysis, like talking about the specific instance of the motif and what it suggests, tying maybe to a specific character, and then tying back to some thematic idea. So thematic analysis. Those are the pieces that I would teach. Throughout my entire class, I consistently color code these pieces. So that's what this little skinny column here is for. It's for color coding. So I'm going to put the colors in. Red. Oh, into the colors here, you use this little sideways paint can with the drop. You just put your cursor in the spot and then grab the color you want. Click on it, grab the color you want. Yellow, green. Oh, that's too dark of a green. How about this green? Blue. I don't like that blue. It's too intense. I'm actually used to the Microsoft Word versions of these colors, which are slightly different on the RGB scale. Then purple. Right, so that's what it ends up looking like. These little spots are for scaffolds, right? And so you could say here, like, make a claim about, something about the character and how the character is, make a claim about one character serving tea and what it suggests about them, or one character having some kind of relationship to or interaction with tea. And then context, I'm really strict about the context. They have to like start with a time word, like when or while or in or after, and then what is happening in the text just before the quote, and then he, she, the narrator says. And then they go into their so that they would just type in that information. Here they would pull out a piece of evidence that actually contains tea. Sometimes they would need to do this row first and then go back and do this row, but it's their choice. And then so I would use this little spot in order to provide the scaffolds. And then I would either print this out or I would give it to students digitally and have them work on it and fill in all the boxes and submit it. And then maybe I would look at it, give them some advice, and then they would convert this, copy and paste stuff over into a Google Doc, and voila, make it MLA format, and then they all have these really beautiful paragraphs. All right, that's it. Thank you.